Hello everyone, good evening and many thanks for joining us here on Rwanda Television. We hope you had yourselves a very restful and fruitful day. Now, at top of our edition tonight, these are our headlines. The President of the Republic of Rwanda, President Paul Kagame, has confirmed that the Bugesera International Airport is expected to be completed before the end of 2024. The Senate in the Rwandan Parliament approved the initiation of the President on constitutional amendment allowing the harmonization of parliamentary and presidential elections calendar slated for 2024. And we're glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera, and you are welcome. Now, starting it off, President Paul Kagame, the Republic of Rwanda, has confirmed that the Bugesera Airport is expected to be completed before the end of 2024. The head of state reiterated this in Doha, Qatar, on a Monday morning at the Qatar Economic Forum. Adam Squizera has the report.
The President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, he first attended the opening ceremony of the Qatar Economic Forum 2023, together with Shah Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of Qatar, who was accompanied by dignitaries, including Michael Bloomberg, the founder of the Bloomberg Company. In a conversation that was moderated by a Bloomberg journalist, Jennifer Sabasaja, had with President Paul Kagame, they discussed various topics including the cooperation between Rwanda and Qatar in various sectors. He noted about the joint project of the two countries to build the Bugesera International Airport and indicated that based on the progress of the work, there is hope that by next year, the construction will be completed.
We've done all that with the negotiations, and we are actually implementing what has been done. We are partnering in the airline, but also in the airport that we are jointly investing in. Work is in progress. We've gone a long way. We're just trying to speed it up to make sure that the airline is very strong already. It's growing very fast. The airport, maybe we should be around 70% of that done. And I guess in the next year, sometime in the third or fourth quarter, we shall be seeing things standing and going.
Regarding the cooperation between Rwanda and the UK in finding the solution of the asylum seekers, President Kagame stated that Rwanda has not asked for it, since there are even other countries that wanted to have the same cooperation with Rwanda.
First of all, we did not really beg anybody to work with us or to send migrants to Rwanda. It's an idea that developed to solve a problem. And migrant issues are about human capital gaps that exist and have these movements, but the origin can also be instability in different parts of the world. And the partnership, therefore, was forged around saying, how do you address this problem? And there came a development partnership around that, which would mean resettling the migrants who need to settle down and, have the freedom to do what they want to do in places that they are stable. And in fact, the current UK migration problem that is being talked about came later. We started with the resettling and receiving people from Libya who were stuck in Libya because of instability that developed in Libya, and there were many Africans coming from different parts of Africa, caught up in Libya, heading to Europe.
Right.
And we have, it started in 2018.
Right.
And we have had a number of them brought to Rwanda, processed. Some stay, others have gone to different countries. But it was done proper and saved thousands of lives who were caught up in that situation. So from that, learning from that, that is how the UK And there are other actually European countries that have been contacting us to address this.
Jennifer Sabasaja also asked President Paul Kagame if Rwanda is likely to return the international bond market after paying back the debt of $400 million.
Well, it depends on the problem we want to address. Maybe, but we don't go back maybe for the same, we go back for more because we've been growing. We have investments to make in infrastructure. We have investments to make in the area of manufacturing, as I have mentioned to you. Yep. We are busy building a country, so we will need resources which will always not be available until we go to the market. So we first of all, we wanted and we have been able to establish ourselves as people that are reliable, that can pay our debt. That's key. So we want to build on that and continue doing more. We don't go to the market or borrow for the sake of it. We want to invest in those sectors I have mentioned to you that will have good returns and justify our investments, and also contribute to the well-being and the development of our people.
President Paul Kagame is in Qatar from Monday this week, where he attended Qatar Economic Forum, which focuses on the state and future of the world economy and the new opportunities for the development. It's a meeting that brought together hundreds of heads of state, bank managers, international companies and organizations, experts in various fields, and private sector, among others. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for that report. Now, the Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, points out that there is need to increase the financial capacity of development banks so that it can support in solving some of the development challenges hindering Africa, such as climate change. Now, he reiterated on this during the annual meeting of the African Development Bank, also known as AFDB, currently being held in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Olive Nete with more.
The dialogue that brought together heads of state and government, governors of banks, experts in economy and other various partners emphasized on finding sustainable solutions to challenges hindering the development of the continent, which includes climate change, a current global challenge. The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, noted that Africa is in need of $2.7 trillion between 2020 to 2030 for climate financing, and specifically between $2.49 billion to $407 billion for climate adaptation costs. But he also emphasized that only 3% of global climate finances are available. He reiterates on the need to mobilize private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa.
Public climate financing must be complemented by mobilization of resources from the private sector. To mobilize more private sector climate financing for Africa, we launched the African Financial Alliance for Climate to bring together all financial institutions, stock exchanges in Africa to green the financial ecosystem. We are using the private sector to transfer to the market the climate risks facing countries by insuring countries against climatic shocks.
The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki Mahamat, pointed out that for Africa to be financially stable, there is need to initiate institutional reforms and also to fight corruption in general.
The capacity to attract external financing, and on this score, our member states are facing the obligation of having the risk of financing, and then to bring about adequate institutional reforms where we have to banish all forms of distortion that take and assume various shapes and models of corruption without ushering in a new era of transparency and anti-corruption. The business climate will remain amorphous, grey, and not effective.
In a presidential dialogue on the changing global financial architecture and the role of multilateral development banks, the Prime Minister, Dr. Edward Ngirente, pointed out that there is need to increase concessional financing and also to increase the financial capacity of development banks so that it can support in solving some of the development challenges hindering Africa.
And I think all African countries and all African leaders will know what to do. The issue now is how do we translate
all those ideas into actions. And this is what we need to do. And in terms of financing, what's needed is, of course, to increase our banks, African Development Bank's muscle, financial muscles, so that it can finance all, not all, but a big part of our development challenges. That's one. But what I want to say is that increasing that financial muscle, it means also as African countries, as developing countries, we need concessional financing because, of course, we want to go to market, of course, but also we still need that financial, that concessional financing. Second, we need to attract private investment, and as it was mentioned by the President of the Senate, to attract private capital, you need to de-risk some sectors. And de-risking sectors, removing those risks, which prevent sometimes those private sector to come in, you need public money. And that public money would come from concessional financing. So it's a chain of things, and we need to fix those issues because if we want to attract private sector, you need to de-risk those risky sectors, and to risk them we need money, and that money comes from sometimes concessional financing or other part of public budget. So, and then to conclude, I want to say that all African countries, as I said, with those competing needs, you need to reconcile your private targets in terms of, your target in terms of development with the funding to fix those external shocks which are coming from, which we don't have a control over. So the other thing we need as African countries is South-South cooperation. So we have a capacity sometimes with our human resources, we have a capacity, but the capacity you find in one country, you may not find it in other countries. So we need to promote the South-South cooperation of African countries and help each other, assist each other to achieve our development goals.
The African Development Bank notes that each year, Africa loses $7 to $15 billion due to climate change challenges, and that it can increase to $50 billion by 2030 if nothing is done to curb the effects. Olive Nete, RTV News.
The Senate in the Rwandan Parliament approved the initiation of the President of Constitutional Amendment, allowing the harmonization of parliamentary and presidential elections calendar that is slated for 2024. Prince Manzi with more.
The bill of law amending the constitution was approved by the Senate and was recently approved by the Deputies' Chamber. The Minister of Justice and the Attorney General of the Republic of Rwanda, Dr. Emmanuel Shebuja, elaborated for the Senate the reason behind this bill of law. Is for synchronizing the presidential and parliamentary elections. There are two major reasons. The first is a reduction of time spent in preparations of two elections, as they will take place simultaneously. If the two elections will be synchronized, it will also reduce the budget spent, as some activities will be conducted at the same time. Senators demonstrated that synchronizing the presidential and parliamentary elections is in the benefits of the country. There are senators who demonstrated concerns that some articles were not analyzed and might cause problems to citizens, hence requesting to be analyzed before the amendment. This is why the Minister of Justice, Dr. Emmanuel Shebuja, ensures senators and Rwandans in general that the amended articles will not cause any problems. This 2023 amendment will not cause any problems, as the article is not enclosing any gap, so no need to be included. When an opportunity to amend the Constitution is there, some of the articles not important are removed. The Senate President, Dr. François-Xavier Karinda, reiterates that this bill of law is going to be revised by the Council of Chairpersons of various committees and constituents of the Bureau of Senators. Honorable Minister of State, after the plenary session, approved the revision of the bill of law and also approved that it will be revised by the Council of Chairpersons. We inform you when this revision will be conducted, and we thank you for presenting this bill of law. The plenary session of the Senate also approved that Articles 171, 173, and 174 were transitions for the President and Vice President of the Supreme Court are in their respective positions as the Constitution was amended as the gaps they enclosed were completed. They approved also that the Article 139 concerning the national commissions, institutions, national councils, and public entities removed the National Unity and Reconciliation Commission, the National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide, and the Rwanda Academy of Language and Culture, as they said, no longer exist. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince Manzi, for that report. Now, tourism and hospitality students are pleased with the newly launched Rugendo Imbere project because it positions them to better explore the practical aspects of their studies. Precious Chirezi has more on this report.
The Rugendo Imbere project is a collaboration between the European Union and the RwandaTV board intent on promotion of tourism and hotels in the country by equipping hospitality students with the tools they need to navigate the job market. Hospitality students have expressed the view that despite their theoretical studies, practicing what they learn gives them an added advantage.
They give us theoretical classes at school, but we're never given a platform to practice what we learned. And there are so many things about tourism I didn't know before, and we practice what we are taught at the end of every lesson. We organize trips for clients and take them around the parks.
EU's Director of Operations in Rwanda has emphasized the core purpose of the project is to improve the quality of tourism and hotels in Rwanda.
We identified some years ago, together with the government of Rwanda, some important needs in the tourist sector. And we decided to collaborate together with the TVET board. We express their willingness to stay in the sector, to be more professionalized in the sector, to continue working, but also to invest in the sector, to become owner of restaurants. I mean, it was them to explain how much important the experience that they did thanks to the project was for them and how the impact that they have in their own private professional life.
The Director General of Rwanda's TVET board strongly believes that the project will not only improve the quality of services, but also reduce unemployment rates.
We do this in other sectors as well. We want the youth to get equipped with what is needed at the labor market and start practicing outside the classroom. And that will help the youth get employed fast, which will meet our goal of getting 214,000 people employed every year.
The students will receive training from 24 hotels and 9 tourism entities across the country, and the project will facilitate 500 students. Precious Chirezi, RTV News.
The Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement has announced that the final release of individuals convicted for their involvement in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi is projected to take place in the year 2056. Now, the ministry says they have diligently prepared new manuals that will be utilized to effectively guide and assist the released individuals during the transition back into society. Sheena Teta has more on this story.
According to the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement, from now till 2030, every year, between 1,000 and 2,500 individuals convicted transitioned back into the Rwandan society upon completion of their prison term. Some survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi request the Ministry of National Unity and Civic Engagement to prepare manuals to help those convicted in ways they can contribute towards the country's development goals. From prison, they should join the society and seek for forgiveness from the ones they wronged in order to live in harmony with others.
They should
focus more on teaching them about the fight against genocide ideology because it can be the foundation of our strength. If they come back with an ideology about genocide, it takes us way back to our past. They should have a hypocrisy-free heart. On Tuesday, members of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Unity, Human Rights and Fight Against Genocide have requested the Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement to enhance the manuals prepared for the convicted as they transition back into the Rwandan society.
Before they transition back into society, reintegration is done to prepare them because they have spent a long time and so much has changed around the country.
The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, said that besides teachings about Ndi Umunyarwanda, fighting against genocide ideology and others offered to detainees, there is an ongoing preparation of new manuals that will be used in reintegration of those convicted for their involvement in the genocide who are about to complete their prison sentence.
We are preparing new manuals because the ones offered in Toriro and universities differ from those supposed to be offered to someone who has been in prison for 25 years, because they need to know how far the country has reached, and that will be done in partnership with the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Local Government, and the Ministry of National Security and other authorities.
Currently, there are more than 22,000 prisoners for their involvement in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in prisons all around the country. And according to their respective prison sentences, the final release of these individuals will be in 2056. Shina Teta, RTV News.
Thank you, Shina Teta, for that report. Now, the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board demonstrates that having information on the areas where minerals are found will facilitate districts' administrations to have a proper plan of benefiting from these natural resources. Our research demonstrates that across the country, there are construction and industrial minerals that can be used instead of relying on equipment that is being imported. Prince Manzi with more.
A research conducted by the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board and the Belgium Development Agency, ENABEL, in the city of Kigali and its satellite cities. The project shed light on crucial aspects of industrial minerals and building materials available for exploitation. Gerard Nimagalitse, a university lecturer and a researcher who was part of the team that conducted this research since 2020, elaborates that the minerals were also tested in laboratories to confirm they're valuable.
Muri zijya quartzite par exemple quartzite nizo bintu bakoresha rwose mu kubaka.
Quartzites, for instance, are used to make roads in Rwanda and Burundi. When you see it, it is a great mineral, but when checked in the lab, you find some issues. This is due to reactivity of pellets that might change in like 1 or 2 years. In Rwanda, various infrastructures, mostly houses, are being built day to day, and their construction require various equipments, mostly imported. There are industries that prepare construction equipments such as cements, tiles, and most of them require equipments. The Mining Exploration Division Manager at the Rwanda Mines, Petroleum and Gas Board, Jean-Claude Ngaruye, reiterates that this will definitely benefit these industries, as some of these equipments will be found in the country. Minerals that can be used in cement industries or be used as fertilizers. I also mentioned about clay. We have 2 industries starting up. It is essential that they start up knowing where to get their resources. Administrators of districts where the construction minerals were found demonstrate that mapping these regions will facilitate efficient use of land benefiting from it through the private sector. It is going to help us, as currently we are at the final phase of our master plan. So now the information that we got will help us in indicating where these minerals are, and also to not designating other activities in those areas. The availability of the quarry map is beneficial to the country, not only safety, but also an increase of this sector's revenues. The sector recorded $772 million last year. Prince Manzi, RTV News.
On Tuesday, the Secretary General of the International Francophone Press Union, Zara Nazarian, who is on a 1-week work trip in Rwanda, visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial at Gisozi to pay tribute to the victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. And on that note, on behalf of the news production team and myself, we would like to thank you for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Abera. Stay safe and have a great night.